Allegiant by Veronica Roth is a story based on truth, lies, tragedy, guilt, and betrayal, tied to a quiet love story between the two main characters, Tris Pryor and Tobias Eaton, also known as Four. Allegiant is the third book in the trilogy, along with Divergent and Insurgent. The stories are set in the future of Chicago, and the people are separated into four factions: Dauntless, Erudite, Abnegation, and Amity. Dauntless are fearless, Erudite are intelligent, Abnegation are selfless, and Amity revolve around peace. At the end of the second book, rebellions occurred in the city and nothing was the same. For their whole lives, the people of Chicago didn't know anything about the outside world. They were separated by a wall, but with the bravery and strength of Tris and Tobias, who are members of Dauntless, they led themselves and a few others to the outside world. When they escape their city and go beyond the wall, they find a poverty-stricken world and no one is safe. Until they are led to David, the leader of the Bureau, and he tells them the truth about their city. Chicago and all of the factions were just a social experiment created by the government to help cure what they call the genetically damaged. They wanted to get rid of unwanted characteristics such as violence and hatred in people and leave them genetically pure. Tris Pryor, the main character, was found to be divergent, which means she showed multiple characteristics to more than one faction. This was thought to be a burden where she was from, but in the outside world it is known as genetically pure. Tobias was known as divergent back in the Chicago experiment as well, but after the test by the Bureau, he is found to be genetically damaged, which puts a burden on his self-esteem. With his emotions running high, Tobias goes against Tris's wishes and teams up with Nita, who's a worker at the Bureau, to rebel against David. Eventually, Tobias learns the truth about Nita's plans, and the whole scheme fails. People are hurt and loyalties are questioned. However, in the aftermath, as the story continues, Tris forgives Tobias for being naive. They finally team up along with her brother Caleb and best friend Christina, as Tris finds out the truth about David's plans. He wants to release the memory serum to the whole city of Chicago and restart the experiment. Luckily, Tris and her team think of a plan to end David and his scheme. However, they still don't know if it'll work. I really enjoyed the book Allegiant. I loved how it was a totally different storyline to the other two books in the trilogy, as the main characters enter the outside world. I was on edge the whole book as Tris and Tobias' schemes came together and then fell apart. All my questions were answered by the end of the book, and each character's true self was shown. I love how the heartbreak at the end of the novel was shortly overcome as the author brought the story into the future. True bonds and relationships were shown throughout the book as the characters were faced with tough decisions and didn't know who to trust. It was action-packed, and I never really knew what was going to happen next. Overall, Allegiant was a great end to the Divergent series, and I would recommend it to anyone who asked.